I'm telling you right now, the most stylish, nerdy, and Lego display spaces are either owned or were designed by the girly pops. So with that being said, welcome to my 2023 room tour. Now, I'm not kidding when I say I think about what I would do with my dream Lego space almost every day, but until that point, I try my best to make my bedroom feel as close to that as I can. And that's the craziest thing about this room, is that it's not just a Lego room, it's still my bedroom and also my office space. And this is a space that I am incredibly proud of. It definitely does not stay this clean the entire time. So that being said, let me show you around. The first and newest addition is probably my display posters. I kind of have to keep the camera a bit far away from this one just so that you can see them both, but these are my two displayed posters. I have 3 of them actually. I also have a Tatooine one, and these were all sent to me by Displate, and I hung them up and I absolutely love them. So I was allowed to pick my own posters, and I was really drawn to these like kind of, I guess, like tourist advertisement type of things. And one of my favorite things about them is just, to me, I think it blends in really nicely with just the rest of my Star Wars collection, and I think it adds some much needed wall art and just like color and decoration to my room. I constantly get questions about them, so I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to check them out for yourself. And same with like a lot of other stuff in my room, I'll try and leave everything linked in the description. I know that this technically isn't in the bookcase, but leaning up against it is this like replica darksaber that I was sent from N-Sabers. This thing is incredibly cool. Do I light it up and swing it around all that often? Not really, but it just looked too cool to just like, I guess, sit on a shelf, especially the blade. I also think I got rid of like the box that it came with, so for the time being I just kind of sit it next to my shelf. The shelf is kind of hard to show off all at once just because of how tall it is, but I absolutely love my Billy bookcase, and I know it's kind of a joke within like collectible communities, especially I know within the Lego space, about how everyone has the same Billy bookcases, and I mean there's a reason for that. They are just so, firstly, cheap and also incredibly practical. A lot of the time people get the white ones, and I ended up going for black. I'm not entirely sure why I did that, although I definitely regret it. Like if I had to go and buy a new bookcase now, I would lean for the white ones, because I find typically if there is a set that is black or has a lot of black in it, it just blends in too much. So I took all of those sets out and replaced it with things that are a lot brighter in color, just so that you can actually see them and they stand out. And because this is a shelf that's constantly in the background of my videos, I constantly find myself rotating the sets that are actually on display, because there are so many things that I've built and like really want to show off, but I also try and keep things very themed. And with this shelf, I don't think I've ever actually completed it per se. Like there are a lot of sections that I think are quite empty, or that I'm just really not sure about what I actually want to put in there. But despite that, I feel like this shelf is very full at the moment. I like to try and keep it very styled and simplistic where I can, but I think that it has just gotten a little bit too cluttered in some areas for my liking right now. But at the same time, I just have so much stuff and I cannot be bothered to sort through it, so it's just gonna stay that way for a little bit. The crown jewel is this crossbody bag that is actually signed by Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. I cannot believe I have this in my collection, and that is one of the main reasons why I wanted to have a whole shelf. Like I just built up all of this merchandise at this point, and there was no way that I wasn't gonna put that bag on the shelf and let it like have its moment in glory. There's like one thing that I'm missing from the shelf, and that is the Mojo Dojo Casa House Ken doll, which apparently is getting delivered in February. Some other key things is that I actually put a lot of my Disney minifigures out on display on this shelf. I got rid of my Marvel collection and they're all in tubs now. And because I ended up loving Rebels so much, they have somehow now taken over an entire shelf. And one thing I really love about my Rebels minifigure collection is that I got a lot of help from a ton of different people. The Grand Inquisitor I bought off Brickingham, as well as Christian, who I met at the last 2 Brickworld Chicago's, who very, very kindly gifted me his second Rebels Ahsoka that he had, as well as Grand Moff Tarkin and the 5th brother. And then Blind Kanan I got out of a sealed Phantom 2 that Caleb from Firebread Bricks helped me out getting. So I really, really love that fact about my Rebels collection, is that it kind of came together through a bunch of different people. And this shelf is by far the most cluttered, and I kind of hate it, but at the same time, I don't want to sacrifice anything off it. A couple of other fun things include my Sig Fig shelf, as well as my member minifigures section, which I haven't actually placed and styled yet, so apologies to all of my channel members out there. When I talk about over cluttered shelves, I feel like nothing captures that quite as well as Breakup Corner, which I feel like, because of the beautiful Daily Bugle display case, really makes this whole thing feel overcrowded. Before I got the Bugle, the Disney Castle occupied this unit for the longest time on its own, and it was beautiful and it was clean, and then I started to buy too many things, and now this just gets chaotically crazy. But this corner is incredibly sentimental, and absolutely for the wrong reasons. So the Disney Castle in particular is sentimental for me for two reasons. One, it was the first ever direct-to-consumer set that I'd ever bought, and I had wanted it for a really long time, so I was very, very happy to get this. But I only bought it because I felt guilty for breaking up with my boyfriend that I realized I never actually loved. It's a whole thing. On a brighter note though, the Disney Castle was also the first set that I'd bought at a Sydney Lego store, and now ever since I got my little Disney 100 in-store build exclusive, I just kept it next to the big one because I really don't know where to put it, but I really like this. And fun story about this as well, I was only able to get it because a lot of my other Lego friends are also really Disney obsessed, and we found like 5 of them in Mexico, so thanks to Josh Build Stuff who ordered all of them for us, and then we all just like got our own individual ones later. I wouldn't have it if it wasn't for my friends. And then we have the Daily Bugle. This set's backstory is like absolutely wild, but I really love this set. Like, just in general, I think this model is absolutely gorgeous, and I was so lucky because Wicked Brick were kind enough to actually send me the display case for it. I did a whole video on it, and it is amazing. One, I don't have to dust this set, and two, I was actually able to use it as a shelf for a ton of other things. I did put my favorites of the No Way Home set though on the top on like a little display stand thing. Now this bad boy is an IKEA Kallax unit that I put doors on. I followed this like tutorial that I found on YouTube. If I can find it, I'll leave it linked in the description down below. But I bought this wood from Bunnings, I stained it, I put some handles on, and it meant that I could hide all of my clutter. I'm not gonna go through everything, but basically I keep a lot of like my video game stuff. And then in here as well, I have the Margot Robbie Barbie Vogue edition. This is also pretty cool, and I don't think I've ever really showed this off. So basically, ever since I saw Civil War, I became absolutely like obsessed with Tom Holland. I think he's fantastic. I still love him to this day, but I ended up buying his dad's book, and I bought it off his website directly, and he signed it. The book's called Eclipse for anyone who doesn't know, but yeah, I have Tom Holland's dad's signature in his book. And then this is my bed. There's not really much else to say here besides the fact that there are actually 4 drawers in this bed, and if I want to access these back too, I have to take my entire mattress off and then fold up the slats. This bedside table I made with the help of my dad, and it is the home of my beloved Queen Amidala minifigure. That's really the only interesting part about this section. This is the one place in my room that I feel like you never see. This is where I edit a lot of my videos. This is also where I dump a lot of my stuff. For example, this is the tray of things that I need to sort out and deal with. I haven't done anything with anything, and I've all just left it here. But in my drawer cabinet, again, it's basically like a dumping ground. Besides the last 2, and those bottom 2 are where I keep my instruction manuals. If they do not fit in that drawer, then I will probably like start to throw a ton away. I don't want to keep more than what is in that drawer. Honestly, I should probably just throw them all away. And then a recent addition to the HollyOnFilm setup is this like pink label printer that I bought off Amazon when it was like the last set of Amazon Prime days. This thing has changed my life. It makes it so much easier when I'm like shipping out any merchandise orders or things like that to just be able to print out the label and stick it on the package. It saves me so much time. And then on top of my monitor too, I just keep a couple of my favorite minifigures, and I've also put my little like brick built Lego Dundee award that I won on Lego The Office Week that was hosted by Orb the Builder and Antbender on Instagram. I love this little Dundee thing so much, and I just had to put it up there. I had a spare spot. It fit perfectly. And then finally, the last corner of this room is my tried and true IKEA Kallax unit, and for once it doesn't have any dumping shelves. I used to always have like 1 or 2 shelves where I would just dump a ton of junk, and luckily that's no longer the case. They are all styled. However, often I can't see the 2 at the bottom because I'll just dump stuff in front of it. So we kind of just went around in a circle. For example, right now there is some recycling I haven't put away. For the most part, it's got a lot of Star Wars in it. However, I do have like one shelf which I like to call my little personal shelf, where I've got like my tiny little Mini Cooper build. I have my Star Wars Celebration minifigure that I did at the London Leicester Square store. I have a bunch of my Star Wars minifigures, my Batmobiles, my little Toy Story shelf with my Marshall speaker, and I have the remains of, I guess, like my Marvel display for the most part. I probably could put way more minifigures in here, but I haven't really styled it. This shelf has been in my room for as long as I can remember, and I've had so many different versions of it. And having a lot of space at the top of it has always been super helpful. However, I'm definitely not making the best use of it right now. I've got some of my larger ships like my Millennium Falcon and my gunship that don't really fit in anywhere else just because they're like so big, especially the Falcon on its sand, like it's incredibly tall. And then at the very back, I actually have like a custom canvas that some of my mods got for me last year for my birthday, which is incredibly sweet, and I haven't properly hung it up, but I could put it on the top of it and always see it, which I think is just really cute. Overall, like this shelf has gone through it. It is tried, it is true. It's not as great for displaying as the Billy, but there are some really great things about it. I mean, mainly my minifigure tier stand. Like I absolutely love that thing. And then as for the last couple of rooms, firstly is our family's media room, which has a ton of movie posters, and that is really how I convinced my family to let me put a shelf in there, and that just houses a bunch of individual Star Wars ships that I just don't have space for. And then because I did not have space for it anywhere else, the Hogwarts castle sits on the very top. There's a couple of other little Lego bits in this room. I also had this display case from I Display It, which originally was supposed to fit the Great Hall, but I recently swapped it out and put Mickey and Minnie Mouse in there instead, just to mix it up a little bit. As for my old bedroom though, this is where I keep all of my part storage. So I have two Alex drawers and then just like a loose IKEA tabletop sitting on the top, and this is where I film like any of my reviews. I build my mocks. I have a couple of shelves that I still left up there which house a couple of the modulars and a few of my Disney sets, but really, I mean, it is just a place for me to store all of my loose pieces. I have so much I need to sort through. It is an absolute mess, and it feels like I've really taken over that room as well. But that is my current bedroom and Lego setup. I think I've done a really good job with it. There are so many things that I would really love to do, and I constantly dream about my like dream Lego setup and the furniture that I would put in there and how I would set it up and put lights in and categorize everything. But for the space that I've got now and just the way I kind of have to go about collecting and storing things and sorting things, and even just the amount that I can put on display, I'm really happy with what I've done. I mean, honestly, it's constantly changing. However, I feel like I'm really happy at this point that I don't really want to make too many new adjustments. Otherwise, I really hope you enjoyed this video and this look into my Lego room and collection, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.